Hey everybody, welcome to Tuhon and Son. I'm Ryan Gelinas.
And I'm Tuhon Philip Gelinas.
And we're here today. We have a special guest. And at first you're like, is it Bruce Lee? No. Bruce Lee died many years ago.
In 1973.
You dumb bastards. Anyway, but is it Steven Seagal? No, it's not. It's not. Is it Marty McFly? No, it's not Marty McFly. It is someone that Philip has known his whole life, even feuded with. It is his brother.
His younger brother.
His younger brother. Yes, little brother. Back from the dead. Not really. Actually, back from St. Henry. Anyway, he came by because it was Philip's birthday. It was Dad's birthday, and he came by, and I said, hey, Peter's a personality. We should get him on the podcast, because Peter wears his shorts all year round. Yeah, in the winter and stuff. And we even actually dive into why he wears the shorts when we're. But you know what? This is a great episode because it's not just people clicking on being like, Philip's brother, I was expecting Bruce Lee, like I said before. But now we talk about martial arts, what it was like trying to learn martial arts in the 70s. Trying to get to Montreal in the 60s when the highway was just being built. There's we talk about all sorts of stuff about the history of being a martial arts in Montreal, really. And then we talk about some brotherly stuff that actually is martial arts relevant as well. So I think this is a 4-star episode. I encourage you all to listen. And, push that like button, push that subscribe button, because every time an episode comes out, we don't have to come banging on your door saying, hey, we got a new episode out, you know. It's a wet Bruce Lee? No! Anyhow, so push that. And also go to MontrealMartialArts.com to see our official website. That is the Gamma's official website. This is a mixed martial arts gym that actually has different disciplines in it. We just don't all gobble into one. We're like, no, you want to learn how to punch someone properly. Then you come, you learn some Muay Thai, learn some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we got some boxing, we got some Keji Kimbo, we got Cali, we got a whole bunch of stuff. In fact, we're in the gym right now. But we weren't in the gym when we did this interview, so we're going to go back in time and space and... I like how we were both on the same page of that. Anyway. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Tuhon and Son. Little starting of today's show. It is Dad's birthday. Happy birthday, Father. I have no idea how old you are.
Well, put it this way. If they gave me a cake, the candles would probably be seen in outer space.
That's terribly unamusing and worst of all, uninformative.
I'm 63 today.
There you go, 63. You're 1 year away from a McCartney song.
Yeah.
When I'm 63, it doesn't work. When I'm 64.
Yeah.
And then the other guy goes, I just want to play the drums. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So today we're not only were we having a show on the day of Dad's birth, the day that grandmother pushed you out into the world, or cesarean, or hatched you in an egg. I'm not sure what they used to do in the 60s or 50s.
It was the 50s.
40s, whenever you were born. Yeah. Like she gave birth to you, but she also gave birth to your brother.
Right, but
not at the same time, but he's standing here right here too. Welcome, Uncle Peter.
Aho, fellas. I'm not normally here. It's a birthday thing.
Yeah. So anyway, I just thought it would be kind of entertaining. Like, Dad's had this martial arts career, and I wanted to be a martial artist since a young lad. But when Dad started, getting a karate outfit and wearing it around the house for no reason, what was that like for you? Seeing the transition of your brother turning into this. Like, what was he like before the martial arts?
We never backed down. We would tease him relentlessly. And I remember lying curled up on the floor as he would karate chop with a foot. With relentless teasing, but it was all part of the learning process. Shut your mouth.
Well, he owns his own academy now, so that's kind of like maybe all this relentless teasing was proactive.
He was going easy on us, that's for sure.
Okay. All right.
I have nothing to say. I don't recall this history.
Okay.
I have rewritten my version of everything, so I can't say anything. Otherwise, my story will be blown.
It's just love, nothing but love, just nothing but love.
Okay, well, what was it like? You two growing up in Hudson together? Like I've heard it from Dad's perspective, but all right, well, actually, let's just fast forward because we get it. Like Hudson is it's a quiet place, and you know your family, and it's a quieter town. What was it like to move to Montreal for the first time? You know, like after knowing this quiet life into the big city.
Quiet life. Well, I guess one of the things we used to do was look forward to silly things like, I don't know, daytime, and when the lights would come on, or no, it was Hudson was definitely a much more quiet place than it. It was quieter than it is now. We were there before the Highway 40 was built. As a matter of fact, I started my martial arts career around the same time the highway was built, and it actually helped because. When I first started, I started doing karate. There was a guy, teacher by the name of Tran Quang Ba, and he had come out to Hudson to do a demonstration in March of 1967, and I attended that. And then the following fall, one of the guys who was in Hudson, who was like, he was the husband of one of the people who did hairdressing, and he would drive in to Montreal a couple of times a week to train in this karate club, the same karate club. And so I went with him until he decided, like a lot of people do, just stop for no reason. And I continued
His brothers
going.
were beating him up.
I don't think that was a problem, no. Anyway, because of that, I started having actually to hitchhike into Montreal. Now that sounds really horrific now because everybody, in those days, it was like, nowadays if you hitchhike into town, it was like, oh gosh, you hitchhike into town, it's so dangerous. But in those days, it was just like, it was the way to get from A to B. I mean, in Hudson, there were no trains. I mean, there was a train in the morning. I think there's 710 and the 805, that type of thing. The commuter trains that would go from Hudson and go into Montreal, and then there was 2 or 3 trains in the evening going out. But there was no afternoon train going in, and there were no buses going in. So even if you could work it out, unless you had a car, which I did not have.
It was either at sundown or sunset.
Yeah, well, it was at 14 years old, and I would hitchhike into Montreal a couple of times a week, and it was
a young, pretty Philip Gelinas of long hair, standing out on a new highway, the Virgin Highway, with your
thumb
thumb out in the air and your hips to the wind, ready to make a nice trucker. Asking for a nice trucker to take him to school. I gotta go in the city and learn how to be strong.
Why are you making it sound so dirty, I don't get it.
I literally am not even bending facts. This is exact history.
It was creepy.
Yeah, it was creepy. Okay, well, what do you think of your brother there hitchhiking into town? Or you're like, you're nuts, Philip. What's going on here?
Everyone was a nut, but we'll never see him again. It was a very irksome thing.
I want his room.
Had to get away, gotta get away, gotta get away.
Do you guys have, Dad, do you have any funny birthday memories from when you were a kid that, your brother can shed some light onto?
I remember not so much birthday, but definitely Christmas time. There was one Christmas where I got a bunch of books. A French book on judo, which I couldn't read. A book on karate, but it was by this guy Bruce Tesner. Now Bruce Tesner, it's really hilarious because Bruce Tesner has to be one of the worst martial artists ever known in the world. But he was the first guy.
You heard it right here, folks.
No, but he was a guy. He was a judo guy.
Philip Gelinas on the highway getting picked up by truckers with his lips to the wind. Only knew one thing that day. He was going to go to the city and be strong. And Bruce Tesner sucks.
But I don't. Okay. So
Okay.
Anyway.
I'll Google Bruce
Tesner, Tegner. Anyway, what this guy used to do is he was a judo black belt, and but he would go around and he would learn karate or what karate was, and then he would write a book on it. So my mother bought a book, and it was in retrospect when you look back and what you remember, Tegner.
We're looking them up right now.
Anyway, so
the fact that Google won't correct you means that history has corrected itself.
Anyway, what happened though? It was he did a book on that. I remember him doing a book on kung fu, another book on savate, all these martial arts in those days, which nobody had ever heard of. And he had the one that says low battery on your phone. Anyway, so no, TEG. That's an S. Anyway, but this is a book, and I had a few books, and there was a book on judo by the Budo Kwai in London. So I had these things and an orange bathrobe, and the orange bathrobe was sort of martial artish. So I had this orange bathrobe, and I would I'd get dressed up and I'd run around in my garden, and I would cut pieces of wood up because in those days you could buy a piece of 12-inch pine. That would be the guy. And so you could cut a piece of pine, and you'd cut it in about 6-inch wide pieces.
He may be a flake, but he looks like he has a good solid chin.
Anyway, what he did, he was a bit of a flake, but in those days he was somebody who did what everybody perceived to be martial arts, and so. But he used to write all the books, and there used to be a full section of his stuff. He would write.
Maybe you should write a book on hitchhiking and not getting raped, because I think people need to know this.
I didn't get raped. I hitchhiked, but everything was, things were a bit weird at times, but no, nothing ever happened.
Well, I guess it's kind of like, maybe it's kind of good that you got into the truck, right? And you're like, so where are you going? Good looking. It's like, I'm going to go to my karate class, as opposed to I'm going to go
hang out on St. Catherine Street at the corner of Saint Laurent.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go to my ballet class and finish it off with a nice I don't know. I got no. Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going to go.
I'm going to the 4-H club. We're going to bake some roses.
Oh, my God.
Oh gosh, I'm starting to see my son for what he really is.
What was the longest time?
A jerk.
What was the longest time you spent out there hitchhiking? How long?
Well,
That's a good question.
Sometimes it was a couple hours. I mean, but I would leave high school. I mean, high school would be over around 3 or 4 o'clock.
Gotta get away.
And I would go out I would hitchhike along the main road to the entrance onto the highway, which was in Dorion, and or Vaudreuil, I don't remember exactly which. And I mean, those days it was a new highway, so people were interested in taking it. And I mean, of course, we always would meet stranger than most people, but people didn't realize that they could kill you easily in those days. So they
haven't seen Dexter yet to give him any ideas.
It's true.
I do remember though, one time I got in the car and this guy had the worst BO. Oh. And I had to kind of hold my breath or breathe out of my mouth because he was like, and he looked like a guy who maybe had just escaped from a prison. Oh, I hope he's not listening. Anyway, but I don't remember, of course, but it was really like that. And he had this real little, like old kind of car, but like an old Peugeot or an old Renault. And
Dad, he had a Peugeot. Oh no!
No, it wasn't our dad. Anyway, but he would be like this, and he was gripping the steering wheel so tight, and it was like, okay, if I can make it to Montreal, it'll be just great. And so I learned all the ways of making buses because I'd gone to school for a couple of years in 1963 and 64. It was, or 62 and 63, I don't remember what. But I was there in grade 4 and 5, and because of that, I kind of understood how the buses in Montreal worked. And so you could get...
The Priory.
Yeah.
What did buses look like back then? Sorry to interrupt you there.
They're quite honestly, look quite a bit like they do today.
Okay. No, because even when I was a teenager, they look noticeably different now, but... There was a good 15 years where they didn't change at all. And then, and then 3 years ago, all of a sudden, bam.
We used to take trains from school, from Hudson, at night from Windsor Station. Those were the days when the trains would go right into the station.
Yeah, that was before they took all the tracks out.
And the cars were made out of wood, and inside were corduroy seats that would fold back and forth, so you could have 6 seating. And some of there were private booths.
What was funny, though, is that our mother used to give us a certain amount of money for the month pass because there was a monthly pass. It wasn't like this today, but it was you'd use they would have a little puncher that would take off a day, and you would have 30 little things.
Bowl repair.
Yeah, right. Anyway,
Unbelievable.
But you see, if you left from Windsor Station to Como, where we didn't go to Hudson, we went to Como. If you went Windsor Station to Como, there was one price. But if you left from Westmount, it was cheaper. So you had like $2.50 a month extra.
Right.
And so we would always go to we would, instead of taking the 65 bus down Côte de Neige
Down to Windsor.
we would to Windsor Station, because it would go right there, because we'd go right down to, and then along Dorchester. It wasn't called Rainy Levesque in those days, because Rainy Levesque was not even a blimp on the radar.
Right on.
But instead we would take the 66 bus or the 65 bus. I guess the 66 bus the other way, and take the 124 down to Windsor Station, or to Westmount Station, and it was great. So we would be able to wreck our teeth on candy for $2.50.
Retail store they had.
Yeah,
It was a huge retail store. Oh, it was amazing. And beautiful thing. But Windsor Station was cooler because the engines were there. All the steam was coming out of the couplings between the cars.
Yeah, they didn't have metros though in those days. So
No, when did they get a metro?
in 1967, that was to go with the Expo 67.
Gee whiz! So a whole bunch of stuff was happening right around the same time.
Yeah,
It's
it
like-
was like a.
now no one's innovative anymore. Now it's like, how small can we invent our phones? Like, if they had the same if they had the same drive they did in the 60s to change the city that much in 10 years, I mean, we would have had Back to the Future technology by now. Although we do a lot, though, but everyone's waiting for that hoverboard, But anyway, it's funny that I bring up the hoverboard because I can't ride a skateboard, and I have almost critically injured myself on a skateboard. So if I was
No, that's nothing.
if I was flying in the air,
There was our father had a bumper seat before, where it was one of these fold up little seats that you go out to a race or a horse thing, and you would stick it in the ground and then sit on it. So Peter, having seen it this evening, decided to try it on our concrete basement floor, and so he sat on it and he wiped out and he hit himself on the table.
I don't remember that.
So yes, so it must have hit your head as well.
Oh, you miserable.
it's almost like it happened minutes ago. Anyhow, so yeah,
So we decided to move to Westmount.
out of shape.
What a shame, yeah.
I don't know.
So that just to save Phillips from whatever.
Raping and the stories. Oh, Phil, man. Hitchhiking out there, man. You hitchhike out in the winter?
All year round, yeah. I not in summer, because in the summer I got a job at the greengrocer at the Beauregard store, and so I would be there
Kate
from
came from.
and Anne and Paul and Tony
Paul.
and every
Paul,
all the
yeah.
rest of the Beauregards, yeah.
Paul ended up marrying Kate from the
Yeah.
grocery store.
Not from grocery store, but from
With the family.
Guru Maharaji's organization.
Uncle Paul, you're talking about, right?
Kate turned out to be quite a bright goddamn woman.
You sound surprised.
No, I mean, it was a remarkably brighter than any.
Brighter than shut up and yeah, exactly. Draw blame on yourself.
That was so irritating.
How did you view? Speaking of jealous or something, just how did you view Dad when you were a kid?
Older brother, the guy who picked on him.
What was he like when you were a
Every
kid?
man for himself. It was pure hell out there. It was. Phil went to Montreal for karate. Paul went up to Varco's. I don't know what the hell.
Peter went
Poor
into
Patrick.
Peter went into Montreal for what's it called, cordon bleu, meatballs and gravy with his father.
That's quite true. I'm a vegetarian now, but I would eat meatballs and gravy and mashed potatoes.
And that was all he would eat.
I would eat. Even today, I eat the same food day after day.
He is,
I can't stand it. I know it is horrible. There's some issue there, but I'm able to talk about love and the importance of it
looking for meatballs in all the right places.
One time, cordon bleu meatballs. One time I ate a ball of it, and there was a piece of cartilage or something that was in it, and I just saw it.
That was enough.
Hey, look, if you're eating the same food every day, or eating some type of food every day, make sure and it's meat.
It never changes.
Close your eyes. You'll see something that will never leave you.
All right, but
works.
anyway, was Philip an okay guy when he was a kid? Was he kind of a jerk?
Awesome guy. I could tell when he's kicking me. He was going easy. Phil, thank you. It's like a Dickens bleak house. Oh, please.
May I have some more?
Terror and laughs. Terror and laughs. Who was it?
Well, there's this, martial arts is beyond mainstream right now. It's almost like Mickey Mouse. The very idea of watching competitive fighting on television, that's what it's like now, UFC is what it is, but, back in the 70s, karate was still, martial arts in general was still kind of an underground thing, and not a lot of people knew about it and stuff like that. But having your brother be particularly very good at martial arts, where people always saying it's just like, yeah, I got a black belt in a system I made up, and has knowing Dad ruined every conversation with these people like it is me, because I can't talk. 8 out of 10 people I talk to about the martial arts, they know. I have the unfortunate knowledge to know that they're not real or just not to be taken as seriously. It's just like, yeah, I got a black belt when I was 10. It's like, that's impossible. That you're any good.
Yeah, well, no.
You must be great for a 10-year-old, but there's a lot of things you can be really good at for a 10-year-old. Like, I was a whiz kid, when I was a teenager, I was trying to do it all. Life had promise, and you're like, oh yeah. It's like, oh, you have the potential to be a star these days. And then when you turn 31, you're like, you're still doing that music thing? Get a job, you f***ing bum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's just like, there's this certain age gap where as soon as you cross that line, all of a sudden all your beautiful dreamer potential becomes that burden that you carry around. It's just like,
hey, well, I can assure you the same thing exists in martial arts.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah, because like there's this whole thing where, oh, are you going to be a martial arts champion? Are you going to be a martial champion? Are you still practicing martial arts? So it's kind of amusing because you can't let that get you down because you shouldn't be doing it for that reason anyway. But it's it's kind of amusing because you don't want people to, how can you say this? You know in your heart that there's no way, I'm 63. There's no way that I could go into a cage with some guy who's got the cardio of an Olympic champion who's like 24 years old and do anything other than gasp after 30 seconds.
Senior League.
Senior League, yeah. Senior UFC, yeah, that's right.
Give me someone older. Give me something.
But the reality, though, no matter what happens, is that, you do it because you love it. You continue to do it because you love it. They say that, in like, Peter knows this too, but you're a musician. You know that an awful lot of people who do their best work do it before they're 35. But it doesn't stop. Well, no, just saying.
It's all downhill from here, huh?
No, it's not a matter of it's all downhill. But it's just that if you're like, you look at the work that, a lot of people do. I mean, sure, there's a lot of people who work very hard as they get older. But for the most part, Jimi Hendrix, he died at 30 and he still has this
27, actually.
27, okay. Wow.
Yeah. So did Jim Morrison. In fact, and so did Kurt Cobain. 27 is kind of like the number. Where it's just like, hey, you're famous.
27 or 37?
27. It's like, hey, you're famous. You want to be famous. You want to live long enough. Like, you can either die a hero or live long enough to be yes. Yes.
Yes, that was...
or Pink Floyd.
Or Styx. You can either die a hero or live long enough to have a residency in Vegas.
Wow.
Yeah, randomly, just on the music vibe. Peter, I first heard my favorite singer off of a tape. You just gave me a bunch of tapes, and one of it just said Misfits, and it was the album Legacy of Brutality. It's the first time I ever heard Glenn Danzig sing, and anyone who's heard me sing knows that I plagiarized that bastard to the note. It just it's kind of like in a music genre where nobody can sing. Then there's this guy who takes all of his cues, who he plagiarizes Jim Morrison and Elvis Presley to he's black and blue in the face.
It's funny. Speaking of Elvis Presley, we all hear about him being like this great karate champion or a great karate guy. Like his teacher, Ed Parker, promoted him to 8th degree black belt. And so
he's rolling in his grave based on this idea.
No, but what's funny is my friend Eugene Cedeno from who lives now in New Mexico. He posted a thing on Elvis Presley doing his stuff in way back in Memphis in, I don't remember, I guess the early 70s or early 60s. Anyway, so here he was, and I cringed because Elvis Presley wasn't very good. I know that any Elvis Presley fans will probably go, he was.
Yeah, but Dad, any Elvis Presley fan also thinks he works at Kmart under a guise and he's alive and that he's, they saw his face in a burnt toast.
Yeah. But anyway,
I'm one of those people, Dad. I saw Elvis. It was in my coffee when Peter was pouring rum in him. Dad saw Elvis on the highway in the 70s, long after he was dead.
It's funny.
Hitchhiking to the city.
I actually came really close one day to seeing an Elvis Presley show because we were traveling around the South, and Elvis Presley was doing a lot of shows, and I was on tour. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Black Sabbath, and it was 1976, and Elvis Presley was playing someplace nearby. And the people that were doing the shows with us had also worked with Colonel Tom Parker's. He was primarily a carnival guy before he became a manager of Elvis Presley, and so these guys would, Elvis Presley's merchandising.
Wrangling chickens to wrangling the king.
Well, yeah, but Elvis Presley used to. Elvis Presley's manager used to like have the cheapest junk as souvenirs. And nowadays, and it was funny because being on tour with a band, the rock and roll bands, they tended to have a better quality of merchandise than the carnival stuff. So Elvis Presley's manager would have this stuff, but he would have guys. He would have like as many people as he could, because in his feeling was he didn't care if you made money, he cared if he made money. And so if he had like 200 vendors all selling something for $4 or $5, and you sold $100 worth, and you made $10 from that, he was fine with that. He didn't want you to sell $4,000, make $400 because that bothered him. But he didn't have any problem. So he would have the place flooded. And my friend, whose name I can't remember because it's been such a long time, told me that that we could go over and we could see Elvis. He's playing in someplace Memphis or something, and but we never went. So, but it was that's as good a story as any because I almost went to an Elvis Presley show. That's like people who say they almost went to Graceland.
I saw Clash once. One song. They were playing at the Verdun Auditorium. I'm out spending the day fooling around with my girlfriend. She's catering the show. I finally get rid of the girl I'm with. She got rid of me. But I finally get back to the Verdun Auditorium.
Who was this girl?
I see the last song of the Clash show at the Verdun Auditorium. The band that opened up the act were a bunch of black guys. They were standing at the side without a ticket, so you stand there and watch the show. The Clash were just rocking the place. It was some awesome thing. I get there and I go, I missed the whole good show.
Well, Dad, I don't know. Can you think of any little stories about your brother here, considering he's right here?
Right on, man. Give it.
Well, Peter was actually quite the sartorial splendor when he was growing up.
Sartorial? What's that?
Your clothing. It was he used to have long, straight hair down below his shoulders. Puberty? What's that?
I don't think puberty gave you long hair.
Anyway,
Peter. Peter gave you long. Puberty gave you long hair everywhere else.
But Peter would wear all the time these black and white vertically striped pants.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And
shorts. And now I wear shorts only.
Right. And but he was one of the first people who ever went out and got a pair of boots made for him, but the really high platform ones, the ones that kind of like the Kiss type.
Elton John would have been way before Elton.
Right,
John.
but he had a fixation, a Mick Jagger fixation for a while. Oh yeah, and a martial arts thing. I'm sorry, I have to remember. I just remembered there was a tournament at the YMCA downtown. Okay. And Peter had been training with us for a short period of time.
We were on Green Avenue, on the Green Spot, or the thing above.
No, it wasn't there. It was I guess it was. Anyway, so
Darto was there too.
Yeah. So anyway, we were there, and so a few of us went to this tournament. It was at the YMCA, and so it was a small tournament in a small gymnasium. Anyway, Peter was in the middle of his Mick Jagger phase, and so he would sort of like do this whole thing with his pouty lips, and like he would walk a little mincy strut across. Anyway, so he was fighting this tournament, and so he would be like doing this Mick Jagger thing, and the guy across the way who he was fighting with had no clue what was going on. This is actually you were training with us at Green Avenue on it was the Green Spot, yeah, it was Green Spot.
Green Spot, but it might have been Green Spot.
No, it was a Green Spot above the Green Spot. Anyway, we were there, and so he would imagine somebody kind of like a matador, like running away from the bull, and all of a sudden he would change directions and he would attack the guy, and we had a technique we would call chop punch, where you'd sort of like back fist the guy's hand or his head, and he would raise his hand, and then you would punch underneath it. And Peter was so good at this because he would score on the guy. Anyway, so he would do this stuff, and he would be like this stuff, and he'd be like, just imagine like Mick Jagger like in a karate tournament, like like skittering back and forth in front of the guy, and the referees were all bent double because they didn't know what to make of you, because like you didn't have all of like this, like, okay, I got in this tournament, I got to win it, and oh god, and hyperventilating. He was just in like, how would Mick Jagger fight a karate tournament? Anyway, so he would do this thing, and he would just like, he would come in like this, and he would be like this, and he would all of a sudden throw this technique, and it would work. It would work. I mean, not only would it work disastrally, and he'd nail the guy. So he would go like this. He would punch the guy, and then the guy would pull out, and then the guy would, because he would nail the guy right in the middle of his solar plexus, and he would drop to his knees, and Peter would like spin on his heels and like mince back to the other side, and it was like so this happened, and he won a couple of fights, and I don't know what transpired, but this guy he was fighting kicked him in the groin.
Oh, yeah.
At which point Peter realized that he should have had a cup on.
I was happy with the results.
Anyway, so imagine if you will, Mick Jagger getting kicked in the groin. So he kind of like did this, like, I don't know what it was. It was like this weird pirouette, like on one knee, on the other knee, up, down, like, but kind of like rolling backwards with his knees because he got kicked in the groin. And so he was like doing this the whole thing. But he wasn't like bending over and holding his testicles like people do when they get kicked in the groin. He was doing this whole Mick Jagger thing.
He was doing a jumping jack flash.
He was jumping jack, kicked in the groin flash. But he did this thing. And the referees were all, they had no idea what to make of him. And it was the Ross brothers in those days who were running the karate program. Yeah. Yeah, so it was the funniest thing. He was just there. He'd be like this. Imagine like the pursed lips, like skitter.
Asshole. What a fool.
No, it wasn't an asshole. Because the thing is, if you had been attempting to be the thing that people thought you were, rather than just being what you were, yeah, you probably would have been a negative connotation. But it's kind of like you didn't know what you were doing, except you were just being you, doing this thing, which made it so, I don't know, call it like a creature out of its depth or whatever. It was hilarious. It was the best thing, Karate uniform, long hair, Mick Jagger, winning tournament. Because the thing is, like, most of the time when you go into a tournament like that, when you're like not really that good, like you get massacred, whatever you do. But Peter was great. He was doing all this stuff. He was nailing people, and the guys were there. They were all these straightforward karate guys, and they were probably thinking in their mind, he can't do this. This isn't fair. You're not. No. And so yeah, it was very funny.
Lucky I didn't get my nose flattened.
Very possibly, but you didn't, and
and I went into rugby.
You got your balls flat.
And then you went into rugby, realizing that that there was things to be made.
Rugby needs my prancing. That's where my pouty lips belong.
Rugby's a great game, kids, but don't ever play that game. You'll never recover from any of the injuries you get there. Oh my God.
Yeah, Peter got the pants knocked off him in rugby and has yet to wear them.
No, he got the
since.
short end of the stick, and so he's been maintaining the thing by having shorts on all the time now.
Peter, what is with the shorts exactly? I've never actually even asked you.
It was a time when it was very cold. I went out to play tennis with my girlfriend and her parents at the time. And
Their parents were at the time, or
Hillary Parsons.
Okay.
And we went out to Nuns Island. I wore shorts. I said, I'll just wear the shorts. I'll just zip out in the car. First time ever. And I said, this feels great. And
that was it.
then we're lunching.
And the thing is, but it's not so much just the shorts you'd wear. You'd wear shorts and then a trench coat. So all people would see.
I had to do something.
Yeah, I know, but all people would see would be these bare legs up to where they think that you had nothing else on.
So they thought he was one.
Yes, they did.
So he thought he was one of those guys that probably drove you into the city when you were hitchhiking.
I had good results with those shorts. Good results. Very good results.
All right. On that note, I think it's a good time to end this segment, unless you got any other stories that.
Oh,
day.
I can't remember anything anymore.
Okay. Do you have any, Peter?
I just want to say that I love this guy. I love this guy profoundly.
And I love you, Peter.
I know you love me, man.
Yeah.
I love you. I love my sister Claire. Our sister Claire. I love our brother Pat.
Sister at the time, Claire.
Still around. We tortured her.
I know, that's different.
Horrible. God, I wish there was something cathartic about this, but it's maybe there is. But, oh my God, I had a great time with these guys. Absolutely the best time. I can't believe it.
All right. Well, anyway, that's a nice little sentimental note to leave off on. Thank you for stopping by, Peter, and becoming part of Tuhon and Son history. I think we're episode 40 now.
Wow.
Yeah, we
Not
made
quite
it to,
as old as I am.
We made it
but
to episode 40. It only took like almost 2 years because we don't do enough episodes.
No,
Yeah.
but we're waiting to get good material.
We are. That's what we do. We just sit around and we're like,
Wait for material.
Not yet.
The material.
All right. Anyway, so from everyone at Tuhon and Son, I'm Tuhon and Son. Tuhon and Son.
Oh, God.
Martial arts. Fight. Peter time.
I'll fight you now.
What the hell just happened?
I fight you now. I lose.
Maybe you're trying to be Muhammad Ali and you're just dancing around and be like, you can't catch me. I'm fast.
It's all changed now.
Fast like a butterfly, stings like a jagger. Wow! Lips. I am Ryan
Jaguar,
Sigjona.
yeah.
I'm Ryan Sigjona.
And I'm Philip Tuhon Gelinas.
And with us today is...
Third member.
Third member.
Third
Where you
wheel.
say your name.
Peter Gelinas.
And you've been listening to Tuhon and Son. Thank you very much for stopping by. Do check our website, MontrealMartialArts.com, 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 where all you can know all about your Gamma needs. Gamma is the gym, the longtime gym of Philip Tuhon Gelinas, where multiple martial arts are taught.
Not only that, we do have a pro store where we have brand name gloves and all other martial arts supplies you'd ever want.
Well, that just sounds snappy because Christmas
Nice
is
shorts.
coming up and nothing says I love you like here's some
Another
mitts.
pair
Let's
of
go
gloves to hit
outside.
somebody with.
Let's go outside and jagger it out.